My son did something that I didn't do. He made the Pro Bowl in his first year. I made it in my third year. It's more like a, not I told you so moment. It's more like a, God is good moment. Like, y'all don't understand, like, what I'm on. Like, y'all don't understand who got my back. Y'all don't understand who riding with me. Y'all don't understand who's propelling me. That's what it is. And we like that.
All of them. I just told all of them, I'm like, oh, you in that slot? Oh, you outside? You at running back? You snapping the ball? I said that to all of them, so I'm like, dang, that is true. This is real, they out there on my team.
For years, the Pro Bowl felt like background noise. Ratings were slipping, fans were tuning out, and most people treated it like a flag football scrimmage instead of a showcase of elite talent. Then Shedeur Sanders stepped into the spotlight and flipped the script completely. Breaking news confirmed the numbers are official, and what insiders are calling the Shedeur effect just shattered a 10-year NFL viewership record. The league announced that the Pro Bowl games peaked at 4.6 million concurrent viewers, nearly double last year's audience. And here's where it gets wild. Internal data reportedly shows that the exact moment Shedeur Sanders entered the game, viewership spiked by 200%. That's not a coincidence. That's star power hitting like a primetime spotlight. Browns owner Jimmy Haslam allegedly told league officials, "You are welcome, we brought the audience." That quote is making rounds for a reason. Cleveland isn't just participating anymore, they're driving traffic. And if you think this is just about an exhibition game, think again. There's already chatter about how many primetime slots the Browns are lining up for in 2026. A leaked memo from NFL schedule makers hints at a massive jump in national TV appearances. That's what happens when one player shifts the ratings conversation overnight. This wasn't just a nice Sunday win in Cleveland. This felt bigger, almost surreal, like the entire football world hit pause to process what just happened. The Browns defeating the Las Vegas Raiders 24-10 wasn't just another box score update. It felt like a system reboot for a franchise that spent nearly 3 decades buried under quarterback heartbreak. Shedeur Sanders, a 5th-round pick labeled as a long-term project, walked onto that field and rewrote the narrative in one afternoon. For years, Cleveland has been known as a place where quarterback dreams fade fast. Young talent would arrive with hope and leave, carrying the weight of disappointment. But that cycle? It cracked wide open. The rookie didn't look rattled, he didn't look overwhelmed. He looked prepared, calm, in control, and when that final whistle blew, something shifted inside that stadium. It wasn't just about the score, it was about belief returning to a fan base that has waited far too long. To understand why fans are reacting the way they are, you have to look at the history attached to that moment. Cleveland had not seen a rookie quarterback win his first career start since 1995. Think about how far back that is. In 1995, Bill Clinton was in the White House. The internet was still new territory. Cell phones were bulky bricks. The TV show Friends had only just begun its run. That's the era you have to rewind to in order to find a Browns rookie quarterback who didn't fold in his debut. For nearly 30 years, that stat hung over the franchise like a storm cloud. 17 straight rookie quarterbacks stepped onto that field chasing hope and walked off with defeat. 17 different attempts. 17 stories that started with hype and ended with frustration. It became more than a streak. It became part of Cleveland's identity. Around the league, it turned into a punchline. Analysts would bring it up before kickoff like clockwork. Can the Browns finally break the curse? They would ask. And the answer was always no. Until now. The list of those 17 names reads like a timeline of unmet expectations. Some were first-round picks hyped as saviors. Others were experienced players brought in as temporary fixes. Every situation felt different, but the results stayed the same. Loss after loss. Momentum crushed before it could even build. That kind of pattern eats at a locker room. It seeps into a fan base. It becomes mental. And that's why what Shedeur Sanders did matters beyond stats. He didn't just win a game. He snapped a psychological barrier. He stepped into a narrative that swallowed others whole and refused to let it define him. The poise, the timing, the command at the line. It didn't look like a project quarterback. It looked like someone who understood the moment and embraced it. That's rare for any rookie, especially in a city carrying decades of quarterback scars. Now zoom out and look at the bigger picture. The Pro Bowl rating spike wasn't random hype. It connects directly to what's happening in Cleveland. When a rookie quarterback brings fresh energy, national attention follows. Networks notice, sponsors notice, schedule makers absolutely notice.
I'm happy for Shedeur. I think this will be good for the Pro Bowl because of the attention and eyeballs that Shedeur brings. People will watch because he's playing. He has star power. He has allure. He has aura, all those things. Just like his dad, the great Deion Sanders, prime time. If they stopped giving credit for alternates, like let him play, it went down the list. He's the one that wanted to play. I think that would help the Pro Bowl and its validity and its integrity and the way people see it, because the guys that got voted on the initial ballot are considered Pro Bowlers for the year. Now, whether they play or don't play, if they don't play and everybody else plays, then cool. Those guys get a chance, get the honor, get the money that comes with playing in the game, get to go out there and have fun, but it does not count as a Pro Bowl. It's not, hey, who played in the Pro Bowl? It's who was named to the Pro Bowl.
Primetime games aren't handed out based on sympathy. They're assigned to teams that move numbers. And if one appearance caused a 200% spike, imagine what a full season of that momentum could look like. The Browns could be stepping into more Monday nights, more Sunday night matchups, more national windows. That changes revenue streams. That changes narrative control. That changes how players around the league view Cleveland as a destination. Star quarterbacks shift markets. We've seen it before in other cities. Now it feels like that formula might finally be hitting Lake Erie. And here's the part that has league executives paying attention. Momentum in today's NFL is about attention economy. Games compete with streaming platforms, social media trends, and non-stop digital distractions. If one rookie can pull millions of viewers back to the screen during an event many considered stale, that's leverage. That's bargaining power in scheduling meetings. That's influence in broadcast negotiations. And it all circles back to one debut that broke a nearly 30-year curse. The Browns weren't just celebrating a 24-10 win over the Raiders. They were witnessing a shift in perception. From quarterback graveyard to rising storyline. From league punchline to trending headline. 17 attempts failed before this one succeeded. That's why this feels loud. That's why fans are reacting with emotion instead of cautious optimism. Cleveland didn't just get a win, it got a spark. And sparks in this league can turn into something much bigger if they're handled the right way. They all shared the same storyline: hype, hope, and then heartbreak. Until Shedeur Sanders stepped onto that field and decided he wasn't going to follow the script. The wild part? He wasn't even supposed to be playing yet. The original blueprint was simple. Let the rookie sit, adjust to the speed of the league, sharpen his mechanics, absorb the playbook, and grow quietly behind a veteran presence. He was a fifth-round pick, not a headline grabber. The expectation was development mode, film sessions, practice reps, learning how defenses disguise coverages. Nobody had him penciled in to lead a regular season huddle with real stakes on the line.
News. Multiple reports that Browns quarterback Shedeur Sanders added to the Pro Bowl roster as a replacement. He's the first fifth-round rookie to make a Pro Bowl since Puka Nacua did so recently. Shedeur 3-4 record, 57% completion percentage, 7 touchdowns and 10 interceptions.
But football doesn't care about plans. When the starter went down with a season-ending issue, everything flipped overnight. Suddenly, the long-term project was QB1. That kind of pressure has crushed plenty of late-round rookies before. Careers have stalled under that spotlight. Confidence has evaporated in moments just like that. But Shedeur Sanders didn't blink. Against the Las Vegas Raiders, he didn't look like someone thrown into chaos. He looked prepared. The stat sheet reads 209 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, numbers that seem average at first glance. But stats don't capture composure. They don't measure command in the huddle. They don't show how calm his eyes were when the pocket started folding in. This wasn't a rookie playing not to lose. This was a quarterback playing to control the moment. When pressure came, he didn't panic. He processed. His footwork stayed balanced. His reads were sharp. It felt less like a debut and more like a player who understood timing, tempo, and when to strike. Scouts watching that game weren't just jotting down numbers, they were reevaluating ceilings. Because the vibe on the field didn't match fifth-round flyer, it matched presence, it matched confidence. The throw that truly shifted the energy was the deep shot to Isaiah Bond. 52 yards, tight coverage, defenders closing, and Shedeur Sanders delivered a strike through a narrow window that most rookies wouldn't even attempt. That wasn't a safe checkdown. That wasn't a conservative call. That was a message. The ball placement was precise, dropping perfectly into his receiver's hands downfield. That type of throw forces defensive coordinators to rethink how they line up against you. It stretches coverage. It commands respect. First-round quarterbacks are expected to flash like that. When a fifth-rounder does it in his first start, it hits different. It felt like a glitch in the evaluation system, like someone underestimated the wiring. Then came the 66-yard screen pass to Dylan Sampson, and that play showed another layer. This wasn't just about arm strength, it was about rhythm and timing. He sold the look, delivered the ball in stride, and trusted the design. That's awareness, that's understanding spacing. That's knowing when to let your playmakers work. The interception? Critics are already replaying it frame by frame. That's normal for any rookie quarterback. But the turnover itself isn't the headline. The reaction is. Some quarterbacks let one mistake spiral into hesitation. They start second-guessing reads. They play cautious. The aggression disappears. Shedeur Sanders didn't shift into fear mode. He regrouped and came back sharper. That's mental toughness you can't manufacture. That's instinct. And that's a big reason Cleveland ended up on the right side of the scoreboard. Now let's be honest. The Browns' defense brought serious heat in that matchup. 10 sacks. That number alone tells you how disruptive they were. They didn't just pressure the Raiders. They overwhelmed them snap after snap. Myles Garrett was a force, stacking 3 sacks and collapsing protection schemes like it was routine. The Raiders' offensive rhythm never settled because the pass rush kept crashing through. And that kind of defensive dominance matters. It meant Shedeur Sanders didn't have to chase the game. He didn't have to force throws into desperation windows. He could operate within structure. That's how smart football is played. Complementary phases, balanced execution. But here's what makes this performance stand out even more. When rookies are drafted late, they often carry a quiet chip on their shoulder. Every rep feels like a test. Every mistake feels magnified. The narrative around Shedeur Sanders was that he would need time, maybe even years, to fully adjust. Instead, he accelerated the timeline in one afternoon. The speed of the game didn't swallow him. The moment didn't overwhelm him. The lights didn't rattle him. He stepped into a situation that historically chewed up quarterbacks in Cleveland and delivered composure. That shifts locker room belief. Veterans notice that. Coaches notice that. And the way he handled adversity during that game says even more about his trajectory. Pressure moments reveal wiring. When he threw that interception, cameras caught him reviewing the tablet calmly, communicating with coaches, resetting mentally. No visible frustration, no panic gestures, just focus. That's leadership energy. It's subtle, but it matters. Quarterbacks set emotional tone. If the quarterback steadies, the team steadies. That's how momentum builds instead of collapses. For a player who wasn't even scheduled to start this season, that type of presence is impressive. The bigger takeaway? This debut wasn't flashy chaos. It was controlled impact. He attacked when needed. He trusted structure when appropriate. He adjusted after mistakes. That's layered growth in real time. Late-round quarterbacks aren't supposed to accelerate this quickly. Yet here we are, watching a rookie rewrite expectations snap by snap. Cleveland didn't just insert a backup into the lineup, he didn't have to carry the whole franchise on his shoulders in that first start. But let's not twist it. The offense still had responsibilities. Chains had to move, points had to hit the board. Rookie mistakes had to stay off the script. One careless throw, one blown red, and momentum flips fast in this league. Shedeur Sanders checked those boxes with composure. He ran the game plan clean, protected the football when it mattered most, and executed situational drives that kept the Raiders chasing instead of attacking. That's not luck. That's preparation meeting opportunity. For a player who wasn't even expected to start this season, that level of control speaks volumes. He didn't play reckless. He didn't freeze up. He managed the tempo like someone who understood exactly what the moment demanded. That balance, aggression when needed, discipline when required, is why Cleveland walked away with a win instead of another almost story. Now shift to the business side, because this is where things get explosive. The NFL runs on star power, and the Sanders effect is real, whether critics like it or not. His preseason appearance against Carolina pulled over 2.2 million viewers, the highest-rated preseason broadcast on NFL Network in nearly 10 years. That's preseason. That's not even regular season intensity. People weren't just watching formations and depth charts. They were watching a storyline. They were watching legacy. And while the official regular season numbers for the Raiders game are still being finalized, online engagement exploded. Clips circulated across every major platform within minutes. Debate shows lit up. Fan forums were buzzing. That kind of cultural traction doesn't happen by accident. It follows certain names. When your father is Deion Primetime Sanders, one of the most electrifying athletes ever, attention is automatic. But attention alone doesn't sustain ratings. Performance does. And that's where Shedeur Sanders is carving his own lane. Typically, a fifth-round pick operates in the shadows. Only dedicated fantasy managers and local reporters track their development. They grind quietly for years before sniffing national relevance. Shedeur Sanders skipped that waiting period. He entered the league with cameras already focused and then justified the spotlight with results. Casual fans who couldn't name 3 Brown starters are now tuning in just to see if the hype holds up. That's appointment viewing. That's value. For Cleveland as an organization, this changes the financial conversation completely. For years, the Browns were referenced more in documentaries about dysfunction than in playoff previews. The brand carried frustration. Now they have a quarterback who blends on-field promise with off-field marketability. Jersey sales are already trending upward. The number 12 is flying off shelves at a pace insiders are calling historic. That matters. Merchandise revenue reflects belief. When fans invest in a jersey, they're investing in the future. And there's a generation of supporters who have waited decades for a reason to buy in again. Even longtime skeptics who swore off Browns gear are reconsidering. That's the ripple effect of hope. There's also an emotional shift happening inside the city. The air feels different. Energy feels lighter. It's not blind optimism, it's cautious excitement backed by tangible signs. Cleveland hasn't felt this quarterback-driven buzz since the mid-1990s. And when a franchise solves its quarterback dilemma, everything stabilizes. Play calling becomes more creative. Receivers run routes with more conviction. The defense feeds off offensive rhythm. Solving the quarterback riddle isn't just about one position. It restructures the entire ecosystem of a team. That's why this moment feels bigger than one win. The narrative surrounding Shedeur Sanders has always been layered. From elite college prospect to sliding down draft boards, there were whispers that he was more name than substance. Critics suggested he benefited from legacy more than skill. But against the Raiders, the tape told a different story. Throws were decisive, reads were disciplined, leadership was visible. Legacy might open doors, but execution keeps them open. By snapping that 17-game rookie losing streak, he didn't just earn a stat line victory. He erased psychological baggage tied to 1995. That burden won't hang over the next rookie the same way again. And here's the larger picture. Cleveland is no longer being discussed as a quarterback graveyard. That label loses power when a young signal caller walks in and flips history on its head. Is it too early to talk dynasty? Of course it's early, but it's not too early to recognize trajectory. When momentum aligns with talent and market appeal, organizations accelerate fast. Primetime slots increase, sponsorship value rises, free agents start paying attention. Stability breeds attraction, attraction builds depth. The real question isn't whether Shedeur Sanders can play. That conversation is fading quickly. The real question is ceiling. How far can this momentum stretch? Can he stack performances? Can he turn flashes into consistency? If the early signs hold, Cleveland may finally be positioned not just to compete, but to command respect. A team that most analysts labeled as rebuilding just weeks ago is now being discussed as a legitimate playoff threat. And that shift didn't happen quietly. The defense is playing with edge because they finally trust what's happening on the other side of the ball. When a quarterback shows command, the entire roster feeds off that confidence. Pass rushers attack harder. Defensive backs gamble smarter. Energy spreads fast in an NFL locker room. The fans feel it too. Stadium seats that once held frustration now hold belief. Jerseys are back in rotation. Hope isn't whispered anymore, it's loud. If Shedeur Sanders keeps stacking performances with this kind of poise and production, this stops being a feel-good comeback story and starts looking like something much bigger. We're not talking about a temporary spark. We're talking about the potential rise of the league's next headline quarterback, the type of player networks schedule around, the type of player defensive coordinators lose sleep preparing for. There's a difference between hype and trajectory. And right now, trajectory is winning. The pause button Cleveland felt stuck on for decades? It's been released. The organization isn't circling old mistakes anymore. It's building forward momentum. But as excitement climbs, one real question hangs in the air. Can this prime-era momentum actually deliver a championship to a city that's been starving for one? That's the ultimate test. Talent creates belief. Consistency builds contenders. Championships demand both. For now, though, the message is clear. The long-standing curse that haunted rookie quarterbacks in Cleveland is gone. The narrative has flipped, and the rest of the league, they're watching closely. Because when a franchise solves its quarterback puzzle, the balance of power can shift fast. The Browns aren't just participating anymore. They're pushing forward with purpose. If you're watching this unfold in real time, you already know something special might be brewing. Drop your thoughts below. Is this the start of a dynasty or just the beginning of a wild ride? Make sure to like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss what happens next. The league has officially been put on notice.